Hello and welcome to a new video series here on thelines.com. Matt Brown, Steven Andress coming to you with the par 3. Guys, listen, we're not going to get super in-depth on all of the stuff for the courses and the fields and all that each and every week. Hey, that's what we got John Hasselbauer for, one of the best guys in the business. Be sure take a look at his videos here on this channel and also his written content over on thelines.com. We're just going to come to you the par 3 each and every week. I'm going to give you 3 plays. Steven's going to give you 3 plays, and we're going to get you out of here in a hurry. So, Steven, up first for you, my man. Let's go ahead. You're on the tee box.
I am, and it's a good week, I think, to try and beat Tony Finau because something's wrong with his putting. Despite the fact that he's 7-1, maybe even shorter a couple of books, guys lost more than 2 strokes putting several events in a row here. Something's wrong with that. He has never won an event where he's lost this many strokes putting. So, with that in mind, first guy I'm looking at is Taylor Pendrith, the Canadian. Bet him at 33-1 across last 50 rounds, last 36 rounds, last 24 rounds. I can't get him out of my top spot this week. He's got a pretty clean profile for what we're looking for here at the Mexico Open. Drives it pretty far off the tee, top 10 in driving distance over his past 24 rounds. And more importantly to me, just all the stats I'm using here. Strokes gained tee to green, approach, birdies are better gained. All these stats that you'll find in John Hasselbauer's preview of the Mexico Open. He's top 30 in like basically all of them. So first guy I clicked this week was Taylor Pendrith.
Go ahead and let you know we share that pick right there on Taylor Pendrith. Same deal. Everything I put in, carry distance, drive distance, approach, all of the different little buckets that I put in, Taylor Pendrith way up there. So we and you share that pick. My first pick of the week here. Let's go Eric Van Rooyen. You want to talk about a guy that you couldn't get out of your top spot? Well, it was Taylor Pendrith number 2 or 3 for me, and it was EVR at number 1 across the board, Steven. 3rd in this field over the last 36 rounds in approach, 6th off the tee in the last 36 rounds, 4th in birdie or better percentage, 11th in bogey avoidance, 8th in par 5 birdie or better percentage. This guy just built for courses like this. Doesn't have a ton of win equity on harder courses, but on easier courses where it's not penal whenever you miss the fairway, EVR can get it done for you out there. So EVR outright for me is my first pick this week.
I'm going to take a guy who's got literally 0 win equity, believe it or not. But this is the Mexico Open where you got better a chance to get one of these guys their first career win. And I'm going to go with Doug Ghim here. He's only had a top 5 as his best finish in his entire career, but he's trending quite nicely, both off the tee and approach his last couple events, a 13th at the Farmers, a 12th at the WM Phoenix Open, and more importantly, almost gaining 3 strokes on approach in both of those events, gaining strokes around the green, gaining strokes putting. So he's on a bit of a mini heater right now. Now, if you look last 50 rounds, last 36 rounds, he's not going to pop for you, but last 24 rounds, and generally in bigger events, majors, signature events, I'm not going to look at last 24 rounds, but in an event like this, with so many guys that are nowhere near as talented as the top players on the PGA Tour, recent form matters more to me because I want to play a guy who might be on a bit of a heater here, who we don't think is going to be able to keep that going as we go along. And Doug Ghim cracks the top 5 for me over the past 24 rounds. Number 1 in strokes gained tee to green. Also among the best in bogey avoidance over that span. So took a bit of a shot on Doug Ghim at 60-1.
I'll let you know, I have Doug Ghim as a top 20 bet. So we share a couple of different picks on that so far. I have Doug Ghim top 20 in the account for me as well. Jake Knapp, for me, outright ticket. There's not a lot of guys this week where when I put in the various things that I'm looking for, again, I want some driving distance. I want some strokes gained on approach. I'm looking for what you're able to do if for whatever reason you get into one of these bunkers, because listen, not a lot of trouble out there, but there are a ton of bunkers. So can you make sure you don't drop a stroke if you get into one of these bunkers? Jake Knapp is one of the few guys that's basically just green across the board, Steven. Everything that you're looking at doesn't mean he's the very best in the field at all this, but it means he's kind of in that top 20, 30, 40-ish in a big field, and that's good enough for me, right? When we're looking at a guy, as long as he's not terrible in any of these things that I'm looking for, Jake Knapp actually inside the top 25 in the vast majority of those, which puts him inside the top 10 in most versions of the models I ran this week. So outright here on Jake Knapp.
Finally, for me, I'm going to go more towards the top of the board here because even though he's shorter than 20-1, I think with Tony Finau being such a big favorite in this event, it's a fair price on Nikolai Højgaard. And if you're using PGA Tour only modeling, then he's not going to peak as far as some of the other services that are out there, because it's not going to take into account that at the Dubai Desert Classic, he finished T7 in a field where Rory McIlroy and Cam Young were in the top 3. Joaquin Niemann also in that event had a T25 at the Dubai Invitational. At the DP World Tour Championship in November, he won that event by 2 strokes over both Matt Wallace and Victor Hovland. And Tommy Fleetwood and John Rahm were in the top 5. So this guy's got game, man, and the models aren't quite catching up to him yet. So even though it's not the number I would typically like to play him, like say the number he was for the Farmers Insurance Open, I still think he fits really nicely here. This guy bombs it a mile. He will not have any issues off the tee in this event. And if you take into account what his rank is in PGA Tour only modeling and combine it with what he's done overseas over the past few months, I think anything, more than 15-1 is decent. I found a 19-1 on him. You can get a 30% profit boost at our friends over at Bet365 to bump his number up even more this week if you want. But I think even though he's one of the favorites, I think the price is right to put Højgaard on your card.
We didn't talk before we did this. I have Højgaard as a top 10 bet. So I have
Nice.
I have everybody that you mentioned in the account in some way, shape, or form for me this week. How about we round this thing out with a bomb, and let's go with Sami Välimäki. And if you have not heard of Sami Välimäki, I get it. He plays a lot on the Euro Tour, but he has played over here to begin the season. Farmers Insurance, T43, the Phoenix Open, Waste Management down there, T41. If you look, and a lot of the things that we're looking for this week, Steven, guys that are really good off of the tee, guys that are really good on approach, it's really kind of what your formula for success here this week. How about in the last 36 rounds? Fairway from 200 plus, which, by the way, almost half of your approach shots are coming from 200 plus this week. He's 15th overall in this field. He's 14th overall in approach from 175 to 200. He's 34th in driving distance, 27th in carry difference, 33 in strokes gained approach overall in this field. And so, again, for a guy that you're getting triple digits, I will go ahead and throw me in a Sami Välimäki. And I don't know if you guys hadn't been paying attention, the triple digits are hitting so far this year as it is anyway. So why not have one in the account and a guy that kind of checks a lot of the boxes that we're looking for this week. So let me throw you one bomb out there, and Sami Välimäki going to get you triple digits if he's able to take it home.
Yeah, I like the angle because it goes back to these DP World Tour guys that are coming over playing on the PGA Tour. In PGA Tour fields, they're a lot weaker than they were in previous years because of all the talent that is left for Live Golf and potentially getting good numbers on them because all the bettors that are using PGA Tour only modeling aren't getting the full picture on a guy like Välimäki, a guy like Højgaard. Välimäki won on the Qatar Masters a few months ago. He was top 6 at the Alfred Dunhill over in Scotland behind guys like Matt Fitzpatrick and Ryan Fox, a multi-time winner on the DP World Tour. So I like the bomb, man. I think if you're going to take some bombs, then you're possibly getting some of these European guys coming over for the first time at better prices than what they should be.
Guys, we're going to do this each and every week for all the tournaments. Just a quick in and out. We don't want to take up a ton of your time. If you want to get really, really in-depth, like we said, check out all of John's stuff over at the Lines and here on the channel as well. But we're going to come in, pop you with 3 quick picks from each of us each and every week. And if you want our full card, upper right-hand corner of thelines.com is the little Discord. Be sure and head into there. We are talking golf and certainly posting all of our full cards over there each and every week as well. For Steve and I'm Matt, good luck on all your Mexico Open bets.